All right, guys, if you've been following along in this series, you know that I've run into a bunch of issues, and then you also know what I'm gonna do to solve the issues. But what I haven't told you yet is the pump is way out of calibration because I removed the barrels, and I did not know that if you remove the barrels, you have to get it benched, because if you move the barrels, like if you turn it clockwise or counterclockwise, it changes the fuel input, and I didn't know that, and I took all these out to paint them. When I put them back in, obviously it wasn't in the right spot, so I have to take it out and get it benched. The issue I'm having right now is I'm not getting any fuel to injector number 1 when the engine is at idle, but when I give it some throttle, about 1200 RPM I'd say, then I get fuel to injector number 1, and it just kind of runs not the best. So I'm gonna take it out and get it benched at a local shop near me. So to start off, I'm gonna take the injector lines back off. So it's 3/4 or 17, and it's also a 3/4 and 17 on that side. So once I get the injector lines off, then I'll come back. Injector lines are off. We're gonna do a couple things now. We're gonna take this entire throttle plate off. There's 3 bolts, there's one right there. There's one right there I'm pointing to, and the other is right there. I'm going to take this fuel line off, and I'm also going to take the return off right here. This is a 3/4, these are 10 millimeters, and that obviously just pushes off. Next step is to remove this bracket down here, and to do that, there's 3 10 millimeters. There's one right there, there's one right there. And the last one is attached to the pump, and it's right there. Pretty easy to get to. That I got with a wrench. These I got with my impact. Next is to get the oil line off, and it's a 15 millimeter, just comes right off really easy. Then we need to take this off. This is a 5/8, and turn this to the side and just spin this off. Mine was a little tight, but it came off pretty easy. Then just put a pry bar in here and turn it, and it should come right out. Just like that, just turns right out. So to get access to the pump bolt, so to get access to the pump nut, we're gonna end up having to take off the fan and the fan shroud. So to start that, I'm gonna pop the belt off really quick. I'm gonna loosen this and this. I'm gonna rotate this up 90 degrees so it's facing up and down. As for removing the fan, I'm just going to remove these 4 10 millimeters. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 down there. I'm just gonna remove all those. These you can get with a ratchet, and this you have to get with a wrench. It removes everything from the fan all the way up to there. So it comes out as one assembly, so I can just lift all this up as one piece with the fan shroud with it. So to run you guys back what I'm doing again, I'm gonna take the belt off. I'm gonna lift this up 90 degrees. I'm gonna remove these 4 bolts, take the fan and fan shroud out. Okay, so I got all that stuff out, and if all you guys needed to do is just pull the pump, and you have access to the harmonic balancer bolts where you can turn the engine over to find top dead center. You wanna get the engine at top dead center, so this is at top dead center. That way when you put it all together, it's all timed right. Obviously, if you have advanced or retarded timing, then it's gonna be different. But for my application, everything is stock for now. When I get this at top dead center, that should be at top dead center. And to do that, you have to rotate the engine over. And at the same time, push that little tab in right there. What it does is it lines up with a tiny little hole on the cam gear, and that's what tells you you're at top dead center. But I have an intercooler sitting right there, and I'm gonna intercool this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pull the radiator out, the condenser, and then I'm just gonna move the automatic transmission cooler over here so I have room. To get the radiator off, it's really easy. The only thing holding the radiator in right now is that lower radiator hose right there. Sorry, I know that the camera quality is really bad right now, but all you need to do is take that out. It's cool, it's gonna go everywhere unless you drain it right. The condenser is held in by 2 bolts and 2 nuts. There's a bolt there. There's a bolt there, there's a nut there, there's a nut there. There's a bolt head on the backside. I believe it's a 13 or a half. Don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And this just comes right out. If you want more thorough explanation on taking apart this front clip area, I'll go back to my removing a VE pump, because I did have a VE pump in here, which is actually right there now. I put everything on this engine. And I explained how to take out all this stuff and put it back on and installing the P pump. So everything I'm doing right now has already been covered. I'm just making another video again to show you guys what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all this stuff out of the way, and then I'll come back when I'm done. Okay, so for the pump gear, I got the nut and lock washer out. I used 1 1/4 inch. It's supposed to be 1 3/16 inch, but 1 1/4 inch does work. I used the pulley puller to pull the gear off. You can hear it bouncing around in there. This I just got on Amazon. It was like 20 bucks. If you want to see the whole process of me removing the gear, go watch my video on removing the P-pump. You'll know when you remove the gear because it gives a loud pop. But as to remove the gear, when you just tighten these in like a normal pulley puller, something like that. So how this works is it threads into the gear, and that plate presses against here. So as you tighten these, it presses against there and it pulls the gear off. Now the only thing holding the pump in are 4 bolts. Well, nuts rather. One here, one here. Those are super easy to get to. The other 2 are kind of tricky. There's one there and there's one way down there. If you go at it with an extension and you end up being like over here with the extensions and a swivel on the end, you can get them pretty easy. I mean, it's not really easy. It's a pain in the butt, but it's really not horrible. It's just really inconvenient. Again, if you want to see me do it, watch my other video on the P-pump removal. This video isn't necessarily a tutorial on how to remove a P-pump, even though I'm walking you through the steps, I'm not showing you how to do it. This is more of just updating you with my process of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So I'll come back when I get the nuts off. Okay guys, as you can see, the pump is out. It is sitting right over there. Like I said, this isn't a tutorial on how to do it. This is more of an update of my process and this build. That's gonna do it for this video. Like I said, just keeping you guys updated with what I'm doing. So I'll see you guys in my next one.